Sagittarius, this is your week ahead astrology forecast for the week of April 25th through May 1st, 2023. I got my handy dandy notes right there to talk to you guys about everything that's going on astrologically. In this video, we're going to review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they're going to impact your natal sun for this week. So, how do I know where your natal sun is? I do not. I am relying on you to know where your natal sun is. Now, I can give you the estimates about where it would be between like correlating dates, but the most accurate is if you go get your free natal report. I'm not going to advertise it. There's no advertising here. It's simply easy. It's easy. Just go, and if you want to go get your natal chart, you go get it. You go to the internet, you say free natal chart, and it'll pop up a bunch of websites that do it. You'll need your birthplace, your birth time, and your birth location. And with that information, it'll spit out a really comprehensive birth chart. And then you'll know exactly where your natal sun is positioned. It is positioned on one of the degrees within the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, and there are 30 degrees total. And so what we do as astrologers is we separate this into 3 sections called decans. Each decan has 10 degrees within it. Because within astrology, a lot of what we do is based, everything that we do is based on geometry, which includes angles, and anything over or too far under a 10-degree angle doesn't really impact, but especially around 5 degrees, there is a huge impact if there's an aspect to your natal suns. So what I'll be doing is I'll be breaking it down into those 3 decans. So if your natal sun falls between 0 and 9 degrees Sagittarius, you are decan 1 or Sagittarius 1. If your natal sun falls between between 10 and 19 degrees, you are decan 2 or Sagittarius 2. And if your natal sun falls between 20 and 29 degrees Sagittarius, you are decan 3 or Sagittarius 3. And with that, I'll be able to see what's going to be, or what and how other planets or transits are going to really be impacting your natal sun this week. And we'll break that down comprehensively. Now, we're going to start really broad as to those major aspects or transits that are happening this week that you guys should know about, or that would impact everybody. There's not always huge things going on during the week, so that's okay. We're going to get right into what is going to specifically impact Sagittarius. We've had a really big week that we've just come out of. We had a new moon, we had a solar eclipse, we had Mercury going into retrograde, and now we kind of just have the aftermath and the way things are for now. I think the biggest thing going on this week has been started last week, which is Jupiter square to Pluto, which could be pretty intense energy, which would definitely impact you guys since your ruling dignitary is Jupiter. What is Jupiter square to Pluto? So Jupiter is still in Aries between 25 and 26 degrees. Anything in Aries is really physical. It's always about the body. Think about Aries as the first place that a soul enters on the wheel of the zodiac. So it's a brand new, fresh start, but it's like just getting into the body, the feeling of it being amazing. So Aries tends to be very, very physical, and a lot of things that have to do with Aries are physical energy and virility. And Jupiter's no different when it's there. It is very kind of combustible, a lot of energy, sometimes too much energy, overheating itself or over expanding itself, taking action too quick, too fast, or growing too quick, too fast to keep up with itself. But it's at the last degrees of Aries. It's in the 3rd decan of Aries, which puts it in a natural trine to anybody who's in the 3rd, anybody who has their natal sun in the 3rd decan of Sagittarius, and we will get to what that means. But Jupiter right now for everybody is square to Pluto, and Jupiter square Pluto is an interesting combination because it is so combustible and powerful. There's just a tremendous sense of presence about it. I think that it can't be understated how things can be taken to the extreme when Jupiter and Pluto are square. And there could be major endings and beginnings that are rushed toward instead of really well thought out. It is a difficult aspect to contain, so it's better to sort of try to conduct it. Though if you are in its path or it's directly impacting your natal suns, it could be a lot of energy to deal with. I don't ever try to say things are just inherently bad, because I don't think they are. Squares do present challenges. So the challenge with Jupiter square Pluto is how big things are and how quickly they rush to happen. That's a challenge, because especially if they happen to you, it could be landing in your hands to have to deal with a lot that you did not intend on dealing with. And Pluto, we know, is final endings. There's a finality about Pluto. There's an extremeness about Pluto. It is also, there's a hiddenness about Pluto. Sometimes there's a darkness to this energy about things that are coming up and sort of presenting themselves to you, and you won't be able to escape them until you actually look at them. So this could be a pretty intense time depending on the interaction that it's having with your natal sun. We're going to actually, happy birthday Doug Denny, get into that right now, Sagittarius. So Sagittarius 1, your natal suns are sextile to Pluto. This is a very favorable position. It means you have a formidable presence about yourself the next couple of years, because Pluto will be sextile to your natal suns, especially if you're on the cusp of Scorpio and Sagittarius. Your natal suns will be square to Pluto sextile to Pluto for quite some time. And that's giving you the presence of intensity, but not intensity to the point of people being put off by you. It's more or less of people sort of, it almost has a magnetic kind of energy toward it. Sextiles are very, very favorable aspects. So there's just a sense of getting things done and being ready to grow and metamorphosize. So this is a quite expansive period and growth period for you just naturally. So your natal suns are quincunx, I would say, to Jupiter. What does that mean? It means frustration, but the sextile to Pluto also means strength. So with the two of them square to one another, I think this could be a pretty challenging week, just from whatever is going on outside of you or happening to you, or the speed at which it comes to you. But it still could eventually work in your favor because you're prepared for it, because you have a sense of being willing to participate once you can wrap your mind around it. And it could actually eventually work for you or work toward permanent change. Even though it hits you pretty quick and fast, there's a sense of it really ending up opening up opportunities and presenting them long-term opportunities to, it's almost like it's pushing you in that, it's frustrating you to push you in the direction that you need to go to make a positive change in your life. That's why things are happening. And yes, definitely expect this push to be extra irritating. The aspect to Jupiter won't last, it'll last a couple of weeks, but the sextile to Pluto will last a couple of years for you guys. So ultimately, it's more about the change than just the irritation and the push toward that change right now. Even though it may frustrate you, it's ultimately happening to help you right now. So you also have a square to Saturn, another long-term aspect for the next year. You guys will be square to Saturn. This could just be rules, laws, regulations, formulas, rules, restrictions, constantly batting heads with, clashing with them, not really even enjoying, like restrictions maybe that you have to put on yourself that you're just not enjoying. But ultimately, if you face them and allow them to strengthen you, I think especially with that sextile to Pluto along with it, there's just a sense of real personal growth that's going to be happening over the next year or so, that's going to come from having to figure out new restrictions or a new relationship with specific lifestyle restrictions. And then you also have a loose trine to Neptune, and a trine to Neptune is really finding faith. It's really harmonizing and balancing things out, and it's a very healing energy, actually. So if you've had some health issues, all of this could be happening so that you find a way back to strength, and especially physical health. Once again, all long-term, that frustrating aspect to Jupiter will be something that you're dealing with for the next couple of weeks, but I think the couple of weeks are really just to catalyze you and to push you or present things to you that push you into starting down this new healthier path. We have Sagittarius 2s. Sagittarius 1s, let me just go back really quickly. Your birthdays are somewhere between basically Scorpio cusps, absolutely. November Sagittarius is maybe to the end of Sagittarius, maybe to the end of November, maybe to like November 29th or 30th. And then it could yeah, that's usually Sagittarius 1. Sagittarius 2s are definitely the first like week and a half of December, and then Sagittarius 3s, you would probably be from like the 11th through the 21st or something like that. Just an FYI. Those are estimated though, those are roundabout dates and very general, so definitely go check out your natal chart for the exacts so you know how these energies are aspected to your natal suns. So Sagittarius 2s, definitely those of you with your natal sun placements between 10 and 19 degrees, Sagittarius, this week, and so it only lasts really a week, your natal suns are going to be in direct opposition to Venus, which is about 16 degrees Gemini. What does that mean? Well, first of all, like I said, it only lasts a week, but there could be just an opposition is constant activity. It never lets you rest, and so it can get very exhausting. So what does Venus represent? Well, Venus represents value, what you value, what attracts you, what you're turned on by. Money, absolutely. So there could be some dissonance when it comes to financial situations. There also could be some dissonance when it comes to feeling valued. Venus opposite the sun could really make you incur some low self-esteem for right now, wondering, am I pretty enough? Do I look good enough? Do people value me? Am I feeling valued in my intimate partnerships? All of those things will start rubbing on you for the next week, and it's not the simplest energy to deal with, but it will pass, and it can bring up some different things that you need to focus on or work on to strengthen all of those situations in your life that you really feel that tension with. Now, it is not a great time to do your hair, change your hair, do anything extreme, to any kind of aesthetic change, whether it's with yourself or with your surroundings that are permanent in any way, because the choices will be based more on condescending or acquiescing to other people's desires because your sense of self-worth is compromised, as opposed to really honoring who you are. It could also result in trying too hard to impress and then ultimately ending up with something you don't like. So it is not recommended that you do that within the next week or so. Your natal suns long-term are trying to Chiron, which is 100% about healing and resolving injuries and issues, especially to your body, any kind of physical uneasiness or unhealth or injuries that you've been struggling with. This is a time to heal from them, learn from them, grow from them. It's a long-term aspect. So you've been actually dealing with it for a while. Nothing is exacerbating Chiron. Nothing is conjuncting Chiron this week. So I doubt that you're feeling it any kind of super way, but it is a long-term opportunity, I think, for balancing out your life and healing. Chiron is in Aries, so it is more physical, more about physical injuries or pain, what you've understood about them, how you've become more compassionate with others for struggling with things yourself. This is for the next couple of weeks, I gotta say, because your natal suns are quincunx, so in a very frustrated position to Mercury retrograde as well as Uranus, and Mercury retrograde and Uranus are conjunct this entire week. So this is very frustrating energy when it comes to Mercury retrograde shit. So think about miscommunications, failed emails, technology or phones going down all of a sudden, not knowing, you know, not like all of this could be super exaggerated. And with Uranus involved, especially when it comes to big tech, like the internet, if you work on any social media platforms, or complex issues with your cell phones, etc. Those are the things that will really be very frustrating. And with Uranus, it could be very surprising about how it ends up frustrating you or getting in your way. Just an FYI, that will last for the next, definitely through this week. Mercury will then retrograde back so far it won't be conjunct Uranus that much, and it definitely won't be quincunx you after your natal suns after this week. So then you'll just be quincunx Uranus, and those are just unexpected, frustrating surprises. Even oddities that come up in your own mind, like interests that you never expected to have. So if that's something that you've been experiencing, it's because your natal suns are in opposition or are in quincunx to Uranus. It's just extra disruptive that week because Mercury retrograde is conjunct to Uranus. And then you have a quincunx to Mars as well, which kind of puts you in a position of not being able to get things done as quickly or efficiently as you want to, or having energy levels feeling a little bit drained. I said for the next week or so, you're not going to be able to get shit done without bullshit making you crazy. That's sort of the overall impact it's going to be having on you. And honestly, it's not going to last forever. So you can just expect the next week to be atypically frustrating. Now, Sagittarius 3s. Sagittarius 3s, your natal suns are sextile to Saturn, which means laws, rules, regulations, or finding yourself like easily putting restrictions on others or yourself, a sense of maturity and authority that other people actually don't question. This is a great time to interview for new jobs, employment positions, because you will get them. You will look very good to others. So this is a definite time to like bump up your resume and modernize it and make sure that you're starting to put it out there, because this is a long-term aspect that will last for the next year. And I can tell you it's the best time to grow your career when your natal sun is sextile to Saturn. People will take you seriously, they'll listen, and you just have a rapport when it comes to authority figures or playing by the rules that will actually work out for you. You're also trine to Jupiter this week, which is what? It's a blessing. Just like don't even question it. Don't even question it. Trine to Jupiter is one of the most beautiful and harmonious. When your natal sun is trine to Jupiter, it's beautiful, it's harmonious, it's lucky, it's fortunate. It's almost like things work out for you even without you thinking about them to work out for you. So expect blessings over the next couple of weeks coming in, especially with that sextile to Saturn. I wouldn't be surprised if it is on the job front. There's a square to Neptune, which can be very distracting and can also kind of, it can make you be distracted or think of things a little bit, almost like have somebody, like it's more easy to put one over on you when your natal sun is square to the sun. So listen, if anything sounds too good to be true, have somebody else look at it for you, somebody else that you trust, and trust their opinion. Because if you have that inkling that something's too good to be true, then it probably is. And with all those other two beautiful, beautiful longer term, not Jupiter though, Yeah, maybe for the next couple of weeks, though, your natal suns will definitely still be trying to Jupiter. For the next couple of weeks, you have too much going for you to waste time with the stuff that's too good to be true, because the stuff that is true is almost going to just kind of come to you, be offered to you. So if something does feel too good to be true, trust somebody else when they say, yeah, there's something creepy about this. That square to Neptune is long term. You've actually been experiencing it for a while. So I don't think that it's impacting you horribly anymore, because nothing is conjuncting Neptune to exacerbate that energy in your life. But just be sure that you're like, oh, and don't get so optimistic you lose track of what you need to do day to day to actually do the hard work of moving yourself forward, because your work is going to be greatly appreciated and show a lot of help you make a lot of progress. But there is that sense of being able, with that square to Neptune, being able to let things distract you, or you know, believe that things should be easier than they are, when it's not even that difficult to begin with. So just an FYI, if red flag, if something seems too good to be true, it still is. If you're in question about it, Sagittarius, just kind of ask somebody else, and then definitely listen and trust their opinion. That's a long-term aspect, though, that square to Neptune. It just kind of means more often than not you could be taken advantage of. You could be compromised, because you tend to believe people more without making them prove themselves. And so it's important to just have somebody kind of like look over things for you when you know that long-term aspect is happening to your natal sun, and that'll go on for the next couple of years. Just an FYI. Just an FYI. I love you guys so much. I hope you subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell so you know when I upload your favorite content here. There's a new Sagittarius video every single week. All 12 zodiac signs get their own weekly forecast every single week. I hope to see you guys back, and definitely come along and check out the Sagittarius Week Ahead Tarot reading, which comes out every single week over on Born Without Boundaries Tarot. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week.